say then that it's other than another, because it isn't contrastable in another, because that would presuppose a manyness, right? So in the same way, you can't say it's in itself. You can't say it's in itself, because if it were in itself, then there would be certain points upon which it must correspond. If it's in itself, part of it must be surrounding itself in some way and must be touched in certain ways upon it, and that would be a manyness. So it can't be in itself. It can't be for itself. Right? It can't be by itself, right? By the same relationships. Therefore, given this, then, it can't be in time, for if we're in time, either the present, past, or future would presuppose something in which it is in. We denied that. Therefore, it can't have any form. Remember, we said it had no beginning, middle, or end. And anything that has a form is made up of either straight lines and curves, and therefore it has no form. If it has no form or shape, then it can't be perceived. It can't be made an opinion of it. You can't. Well, if it were by itself, right? Let's try it. Right? Then you must then consider, must you not, that there must be something other than itself so it can be by itself. Well, does by itself presuppose that it must be in a place where there's nothing other? Well, okay. Would you agree you can use this language to mean that?
You want to?
Yeah, okay. So just that we can take that out and let's use your idea of what by itself would mean.
If it was everything, and there's no other, so it's by itself.
Yeah, okay. By the way, you called it an it. You don't want to do that, do you?
Oh, yeah, it's everything.
Oh, wait a minute. If you want to call it, if it has a name, then there's something different between it and its name.
Well, it's not.
No, it's not. That's the other part. No, if you want to say the one is not, then obviously another...
It's not something, it's everything.
Okay, then it's back to being a many for you. But we said, did we not, to begin with, that our dialectic is going to be based upon one premise, that we're not going to make any statements that imply or suggest many.
It can't be a many because it's by itself, which we just proved, right?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, but would you agree if we use the word by itself in respect to this, then we can say it's not by itself?
I understand what you said.
Okay. If something is by itself, does that suggest there can be some place in which it can be by itself?
Oh, you're thinking in terms of by meaning
spatial.
Spatial.
Yeah.
If it was limited.
Right. So that we couldn't use that idea.
If it was limited, yeah.
Yeah.
So it can't be limited. It's got to be everything.
Everything, many.
It's everything. It's many.
No, if it's everything, would you agree? That's going to be a manyness. Everything.
Would be one. Everything is one thing.
Everything is a one.
Everything is one thing by itself.
That's true. Then there is a plurality of many ones.
So everything is one thing by itself.
Yes, that's true. And there are many of them by itself.
No, just one thing.
Doesn't it imply limitation?
No, because, okay. Since it has no beginning, middle, or end, it cannot be asserted that it has any outward boundary.
I would say that.
Then it's unlimited in that respect.
About the one, but if I say that the one isn't it, then I'm implying that it is something that is not something else.
Okay. But that's still distinguishing it from other things when you call it an it. It's also neuter.
So that's the point that I'm
Yeah. So that you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't call it. You
That's
can't
right.
call the one
That's right.
an it.
That's right. And therefore, in the end, you can't even call it the one.
Right.
Because that's suggesting there's something there that you give a name to and they're different.
Exactly.
So then the name drops out too.
It can't exist.
You can't assert of it existence.
I want to change subject a second and go back to this. In many mystical traditions, the biggest danger is this stage, because when you get the, I'll call it the idea of the good, and you mix it up with a 1.
Oh yeah.
That's the most
oh, yeah.
dangerous.
Sure. That's
stage
right.
is-
That's right. You're making it into a manyness. Yeah, good for you. That's right. Yes, I didn't mean to cut you short, but yes, you're quite right. That would be a danger. Yeah.
How can one relate the idea of a simultaneous whole to the process of the dialectic?
Well, simultaneous whole is another word for eternity.
Okay.
Eternity is the name for the idea in the mind of God, right? Because if you were to say, that means that the idea in the mind of God must be a simultaneous whole, must contain in itself all the possible manifestations that are capable of its development, and
All intelligible beings, right?
yeah, yeah. But it itself, it must contain them as a whole, simultaneous whole, no change. Therefore, that's also the idea of eternity, which is between. Well, it's another thesis.
Someone sent me on an email a set of sayings that children have made. This whole discussion reminds me of this one that just popped into my mind that was on this list.
Mm-hmm.
It said, vacuums are nothings. We like to mention them so that they know we know they're there.
That's very good. That's very good. Good. That's very good. I like that. Yeah, that's very good. Because we know they're there.
I did notice the solid geometry, and I'll tell you why it's important to me. If we knock out the solid geometry, then we end up with 7, and we bring back the music and gymnastics. We have 7
preconditions.
levels, which goes with the 7 chakras, with the 7 levels in Mitraism, and all the other 7 levels of initiation. Which so does it really emphasize the solid geometry as opposed to normal geometry? Is there 8 or 7? That's
No.
my question.
Solid geometry, Plato insists, is something worth studying, but he says that students have such an egoistic view that and it's difficulty in finding proper teachers for it. And the difficulty is that you can't persuade students to take such an abstruse subject, and therefore you can't offer it in the Republic. It's got a great line. If you don't mind, I'll give it to you.
327.
Pardon me?
327.
Oh, well, why don't you read it for me?
After the plane surface, I said we took solids already in revolution before we examined them by themselves, but the right way is to take the third increase next after the second. Let's see what I do. This study relates, of course, to cubic increase and to forms having depth. Quite so, he says, but it seems that those problems have not yet been solved. For 2 reasons, I said, because no city holds them in honor. They are weakly pursued, being difficult. Again, the seekers lack a guide, without whom they could not discover.
Right. More?
It is hard to find one in the first place, and if they could, as things are now, the seekers in these matters would be too conceited to obey them.
The seekers are too conceited to obey them. They got an egoistic problem somehow. So he suggests there is a very important study, but they can't find the teachers, and it's difficult to get students who can match it. So we were thinking of putting it on the email, wanted solid geometricians for Plato's Republic. The need exists.
8 chakra, which is there, but it's just
Not yet.
Does he deal with the solid geometry in the Timaeus?
Could you do it with solid